Your perspective has been so refreshing from my seat, outside looking in, obviously. But for so long, people that sat in your seat, and this is not a knock, but they came up through administration. They'd been kind of lifelong administration people, if you will. Now it's very different than that. Other than Greg, everybody that's entering into these seats as commissioners have an outside perspective. Tony Petitti being the newest one in the Big Ten, an outside perspective, a strong media perspective and outlook. How has your background impacted the way that you view this position as the commissioner?
It's a great question. Still have a lot to learn. But when I look back on my first year, I think many of my skill sets were transferable. Every commissioner's job is different, and it needs a different set of skill sets. This conference needed someone like me, someone that was willing to disrupt, innovate, create, look at the conference a little differently, build its business and brand and profile. And I'm the right guy for the job, candidly. I think it's been a wonderful fit. I'm not sure I'd be a fit to run other conferences, candidly. This was
maybe too aggressive.
Maybe too aggressive, which is perfectly fine.
That's fine, right? Yeah.
But this was the right place for me.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that the brand in any way, shape, or form was distressed, because it wasn't. Nothing was broken. But this was a conference that needed to get better and do things differently. And even during the interview process, I sensed from the board they were willing to pivot away from the traditional. In fact, I'm not sure they had any other choice. Just on the heels of Texas and Oklahoma leaving, a potential upcoming TV deal, they needed to create a different narrative and profile.
Even convincing a board like that to jump the media, spot, that's a big decision.
Yes, because most of them are very conservative.
That's right.
But they were all in, and they have given me a lot of latitude to move forward. That being said, I do realize, and I know my name's not on the door, I'm very transparent with our governance group, specifically ADs and presidents, and nothing we do doesn't get vetted out with them first. So as we move forward and do the things we're doing, it has the full support of all the key stakeholders in the conference.
I think it's so fascinating because when I think of the key stakeholders, right, the people that you work for, and the presidents and the chancellors and ADs, traditionally they have been a very slow-moving, traditional, conservative bunch. Right? It's like trying to move the Titanic, man. I mean, those rudders move very slowly. There's a lot of red tape. And yet, you come in, you say, August 1 was your first day. You guys have been quick. You've been nimble. You've been aggressive. You started mentioning things like innovating within the media landscape. How do we make our games look different, whether it's basketball or football? You threw out possible contests, whether it's football or specifically basketball, in Mexico. Have you been surprised at how willing that old school group of constituents has been to let you go out there and just start going?
I have been a bit surprised. In fact, it's just interesting because a couple of my board members will call me up and say, Brett, are we moving fast enough? And I'll say, we're moving just fast enough. It's fantastic. So relative to my peers, my other A5 commissioners, I am a bit surprised at the speed in which we're able to move and make decisive decisions.
How beneficial has that been in this first year?
Great. On a personal and professional level. I mean, I work best when I can move fast. That's kind of been my trademark. And I've worked for great people that have given me the latitude to do that. Not that I was concerned coming here that it wouldn't be the case, because I was convinced by the board when I went through the interview process that they were ready to move. But I was a little suspect.
Sure.
But they have been incredible partners for me. The board, the ADs, they want to disrupt. It's interesting. This conference has been on its heels for years.
Yeah.
Even during the good days. And the fact that they can lean back now and put their chests out a little bit. Everyone's enjoying it. They're gravitating to it. In fact, they want more. So when I think about year 2 in the post, as much as we've accomplished in year 1, I'm really bullish on year 2 because I'll be a better commissioner. I'll know more. We've got great chemistry amongst the group. We've gone through an organizational redesign, so we're staffed up, we're ready for success. So I think our better days are ahead. So I'm really excited about it.
I've really loved a lot of the things that you have pushed, if you will. You know, I think that the broadcast can get stale in college football. For instance, let me just give you an example. And I'm not saying that this is absolutely going to happen in the Big 12, but there are microphones placed on players in the NFL, so you get really deep, rich play sound in the NFL. You don't even know that at home, that's what you hear. But you hear the crashing, you hear, and that was a John Madden thing at Fox, and we dove into that. And that's why the NFL product sounds a little bit deeper and richer than the college product. It's because colleges have been reluctant to put those microphones onto the field. I'm not suggesting that's exactly going to happen, but you've talked about trying to innovate and push the broadcast moving forward. You've talked about contests in Mexico. What are some of the things that maybe you haven't thrown out there that all of us would sit back and be like, man, I haven't even thought of that?
Listen, if you came to my office in Las Colinas, I have a whiteboard.
I knew it. I knew you had a whiteboard.
And I have a
This is so
whiteboard
good.
of many, many different things. And I will tell you, I've sat...
Can I come and...
Anytime.
Oh, I love it.
And in fact, I take a picture of my whiteboard at the end of every week, because I always add to it. And it's on my iPhone. Okay, so when I'm traveling, I just pull it up and I look at it and I remind myself of the different things I want to do. But I made a promise to our staff that for the next couple of months, everything that we're doing, we need to make sure that we do it in a great fashion. I don't want anything to be diluted because I'm spreading the staff too thin. But we have incredible ideas to create more IP and to develop new initiatives, things that have never been done in this space before, that I know are very transferable. That drive value for our member institutions and create revenue opportunities. And I'm really excited about it. But your point about innovating and creating and working with Fox on how we can further enhance the television broadcast, we're focused on it. We want to be the conference of innovation, and we want you to push us as far as we can go. And I have a great collection of coaches that are willing to sign up for it. Mm-hmm. And we want to take a leadership position in that area. We want to take a leadership position in as many areas as we can. We might not be the conference that drives the most revenue. Maybe one day we will, but not today. But in all other facets of the business, we want to be the leader.